All right, let's go ahead and get into it for this Friday's MIT training video because it is cuffing season and I need to make sure that you stay protected by any means necessary. We're not doing and engaging in any of the shenanigans at all right? So as you can see from the title of this message, I want to talk about alignment over attachment, how to prepare for a suitable and complementary partner. I always talk about how much I love Genesis 2:18, the amplified version, when it says, I am going to create a helper for one that is suitable and complementary to him. Listen, unfortunately, this is the season where a lot of women end up confusing attachment with alignment, okay? And that's why I wanted to reinforce that scripture verse because I don't want you to end up confused. I get it. The weather starts changing. It's getting colder outside. There are reasons biologically and psychologically and even spiritually why so many Christian women end up falling into the traps of cuffing season. But I'm going to help you out because today's training session is all about preparing your heart, mind, and habits so that you do not settle for no broke down celery smelling man. All right. I don't want you settling for a seasonal connection when God is preparing covenant level alignment. This is absolutely the season for many single women where their flesh will try to drag them into attachment, but your spirit is calling you into alignment. So I need you to stay focused. So let's actually define attachment versus alignment, or should I say, let's look at the comparison because there are absolutely differences, okay? Attachments, y'all know I always talk about how the goal is for you to find a connection, right? I go in depth in this in my book, No More Lonely Nights, talking about attachment versus connection. There's a reason why it's even called attachment style. In so many different cases, people find themselves attaching to someone that they should never be attached to. Attachments are emotionally driven. They are based on loneliness. They go based on chemistry. They go based on fantasy. Even when I said chemistry, truth be told, in many cases, they can also go based on compatibility. I know that so many people think that it's important to be compatible with your partner. That is not the case. Suitable, complementary, all right? It has nothing to do with being compatible. We can like a lot of the same things. That does not mean we are supposed to be together. That is why it's so easy to say, hey, I found a good man, but a man can be good. Doesn't mean that man is good for you. Attachments also require minimal effort from the men. A lot of the ladies that I work with in my private coaching programs, it is actually all about helping them when it comes to detaching from men who did absolutely nothing for them. Their emotions were all caught up with men who did the basics or the bare minimum. Attachments, they feel good almost immediately, but they destabilize long term. That's why if you are someone who has not started your healing journey, or if you have not taken the steps into wholeness, that is why it is not good necessarily for you to be dating, especially if you have an insecure attachment style, especially if you are anxious, preoccupied, because you're going to go based off of how you feel in the beginning. And I always talk about, biologically speaking, upon meeting a guy, we are actually releasing, our brain is releasing all of these different chemicals and hormones up to 3 years after meeting someone. So this is why it's so easy to end up falling in love with the man. You end up staying well past the expiration date. You'll end up staying so much longer than you should. And it's because your brain chemicals, they're making you feel good. But then as time goes on, they start to destabilize, right? Look back to someone who you probably met and it was like, man, like I'm really feeling this guy. We really connect. I really think this is the one. And you look at it now and it's like you think about the years you invested with him and it's kind of like, what the heck was I thinking? Even though at that time when you were in it, it's like you would have probably married him if he had asked. And it's a good thing you didn't, because over time, destabilization happens. Attachments also, they pull you out of position spiritually and emotionally. Those are the relationships that end up leaving you feeling drained. It ends up making it, or it ends up feeling like something is missing, like you're losing a part of yourself, you're changing in some way. That's because they were attachments that you were never supposed to be a part of. Alignment is the goal. You want to make sure that you have a vision. You want to make sure that you date according to that vision. You want to make sure that you find someone that you are aligned with. That relationship shows that you all have aligned goals. You are aligned spiritually. You have shared values, because alignments are purpose driven. Alignments are based on emotional maturity and, like I just said, shared values. Alignments actually require discernment and boundaries. Alignments produce peace. They produce clarity. They produce forward movement. Alignment positions you for covenant instead of chaos. Proverbs 4:23. Above all else, guard your heart, because every single thing you do flows from it. This is why this needs to be like the anthem for your dating life. Now let's talk about why so many women actually experience misalignment. I actually did a blog on this that you need to check it out if you haven't already at thenewlovecollective.com. But let's talk about why it ends up happening. For one, we got to talk about the biological reasons. There are nervous system dysregulation that's going on, anxiety, trauma patterns, emotional hungers. All of those things, they actually weaken our discernment. They weaken us spiritually speaking, right? And when regulation is not present, when you are able to actually stay in control and make great decisions, this is when you end up choosing wrongly. It's like your decisions, they become reactive instead of them being wise. That is one of the biggest things that I see with a lot of women who have patterns with the men that they have dated, when they have been in things that have been unhealthy, when they've been in relationships that have been one-sided, right? Like all of those things. And it's typically because the woman has a nervous system that is dysregulated, which will lead to one of the three insecure attachment styles. Another thing would be attachment wounds, right? That's the obvious. You know, I talk about that a lot. Fear of abandonment will actually drive you into connections that are beneath you, because attachment wounds, they masquerade as chemistry. This is when you go based off of what feels good. At the end of the day, this goes back to why I always say have a vision, because when you have a vision that is complete with boundaries and things that you want and things that you say that you are not settling for, right? That way, you're not going to get sidetracked when a man comes into the picture making you feel good. You'll have that vision that you can actually look at and say, hey, does this man line up with the kind of man that I said that I want? Does this relationship show that it aligns with the standards that I already set for myself going forward? So attachment wounds will cause all of that to go out the window if you are not grounded. Another thing is, kind of ties into what I was saying as well, lack of emotional preparation. Women want covenant, right? It's so easy to say, oh, I want a godly relationship. I want a godly man. I want kingdom love, Coach V, help me out. It's easy to say that you want covenant, but a lot of women, they want that, but they are not, if they are honest, they are not emotionally equipped either to recognize it or sustain it. This is why I am so big on heart healing. This is why I'm so big on emotional stability. This is why I'm so big on mental health, financial wellness, all of these things tied together, because when you're doing better, you feel better, you choose better, right? That is when you are actually equipped to be in something that is aligned. You are prepared in every sense of the word. Your emotions are in check because now you have good self-esteem, good self-worth, good self-love. So you know when you are in something that's good, you know when you are in something that you need to get the heck out of. Unrenewed belief systems is something else that messes women up. When you are repeating or believing that good men don't exist, everyone settles. Love just ain't what it used to be. Maybe I'm asking for too much. These are beliefs that will sabotage alignment before a man ever even arrives, before a good aligned man ever even arrives. Proverbs 18:21 says what? That's correct. It says life and death are in the power of your tongue. So if you're speaking certain things about men today, about relationships today, about love today, what do you think is going to happen in your own life, right? These are the exact layers that we get to deal with inside New Heart Academy. Because alignment is something that doesn't happen by hoping. No, it happens by healing. You have to decide you are going to be intentional. So let's talk about what it looks like when a woman is misaligned. Okay? When she's misaligned, she will attach quickly. When you're misaligned, you overinvest too soon. When you're misaligned, boundaries get weaker, especially when loneliness is happening. When you're misaligned, you will give men access without even requiring commitment, without even like setting the bar a little bit higher. I'm not saying force him to wine and dine you, but increase those standards a little bit, right? It's like when you are misaligned because of the loneliness, because of fear of settling, because of fear of being alone, should I say, you'll end up dealing with a man and not even requiring that he commit to you. Because when you're misaligned and when your heart is unhealed, you'll be so focused on trying to figure out whether a man likes you and wants you and is going to be with you that you don't even take the time to take a step back to say, wait a minute, do I even like him? Do I want him? Is he aligned with what it is I'm wanting? When you're misaligned, you will confuse emotional intensity with spiritual confirmation. We're going to let that one sit in for a minute. When you are misaligned, you will confuse emotional intensity with spiritual confirmation. You will go based on the passion. It's such a deep connection. It's so intense. You'll go based off of all of these feelings and you will think that it's spiritual. You'll think that that's God showing you. Because I had a feeling and it's so crazy, I dealt with this, and now for me to come across a man who's dealing with the same thing, or to find out that his birthday is actually the same day that my father, whatever the case might be, or it just so happens that he had a tattoo of a dove and my mom had just mentioned that she had a dream about a dove. We'll go through all of these things. We'll try to make something out of nothing, right? When you are misaligned, you tolerate behavior that absolutely contradicts who it is that you are becoming in this season. Misalignment is not a dating issue. It is a heart posture issue. This is why you have to guard your heart, because everything you do flows from it. This is why you have to renew your heart. Jeremiah says the heart is deceitful. It is wicked. It cannot be trusted. And you are not someone who should be following your heart if you know that you have things that you have not faced and actually worked through yet. When you are serious about wanting something that is kingdom and godly and something that's going to last, you are going to move differently. Alignment is going to look different from you. They're different for you. There are some things, even when it comes down to your characteristics, because a woman who is serious about alignment, a woman who is serious about wanting something that is happy, healthy, and holy, first and foremost, she knows herself. I talk about that high intensity self-awareness a lot. I walk women through this deeply in New Heart Academy. You have to know yourself. That means you know your identity. You know your triggers. You know your patterns, your values, your attachment style, your strengths, your weaknesses, your desires, your resilience, your convictions. That is one of the things that aligned women, that is something that they think about, right? They want to make sure that they know themselves. They know themselves fully and truly, so that way they can actually show up as an authentic version of themselves. Another thing, you would have discernment that is grounded, not guessing. A woman doesn't need a prophetic dream to see a man's character. We got to stop with this. Sometimes we can just be so deep and so spiritual for no reason. No. A healed soul, a healed heart, and a trained mind, those things will absolutely handle that, okay? When a woman is serious about alignment, she moves slowly. She moves intentionally. She doesn't get swept up. She takes her time to observe, to measure, and evaluate a man in a relationship, right? A woman who's serious, she is going to choose suitability over chemistry. Again, Genesis 2:18, not just someone, but someone who is suitable and complementary. A woman who wants actual alignment, she honors her boundaries. She does not negotiate her peace or her purity for companionship. I don't care how cold it is where you are, you need to be going to bed alone. I don't need you going in anyone else's bed. I don't need anyone else in your bed, unless it's your kids. That don't count, right? But I'm going to need you to keep guarding that purity. A woman who's serious about alignment, she is emotionally stable enough to ensure that she knows how to choose wisely. She doesn't attach out of fear. She aligns out of strength. There's a big difference. So I want you to shift from attachment to alignment, okay? First and foremost, you're going to heal those attachment wounds. You need to identify where you bond from fear, instead of faith. You need to identify ways in which maybe your childhood or your parents have actually affected the way that you date and do relationships. Then I need you to regulate your nervous system. You need to learn how to ground yourself so that you are not choosing from emotional chaos. You need to clarify your relational vision. Do you have a blueprint? Do you have a relationship blueprint? If you never took the time to watch the Write the Vision workshop, I am sorry to you. I'm sorry that you never did, because it's gone. Right now, the new workshop that I have out that people are allowed to access for free is Why Love Still Hasn't Found You Yet. We talk about the 5 hidden blocks that are keeping you from love. Right now, the only way that you can do Write the Vision with me is inside of New Heart Academy, all right? And I'm not even going to tell you how to do it, because you had plenty of time to watch that workshop. But I need you to have a relational vision, and I want you to strengthen your discernment. This is where many women are weak. They don't know how to assess a man properly. Your discernment strengthens and increases the more time that you spend in the presence of God. But I'll also tell you that there is an advanced dating course in New Heart Academy where I teach you how to date with discernment. Okay? It is advanced dating skills for intentional women. It teaches you how to evaluate a man's maturity, consistency, pursuit, communication style, attachment type, long-term suitability, everything, not from guessing, not from vibes, but from skill. You will get my intentional dating skill set in that course, okay? Because in this season, we're not taking any more advice from the people who are unhealed or unserious or ungodly, for that matter. So it's time for you to do something different. It's time for you to prepare for a suitable and complementary partner. It's time for you to decide that the end of 2026 is not going to look the same as the end of 2025. It is your choice. You can be in a completely different space a year from now. The choice is yours. Truth be told, you can be in a completely different space 6 months from now. Listen to me clearly. Alignment, it is not accidental. It is intentional. Women do not just stumble into covenant. They don't stumble into something great. They prepare for it. They heal for it. They study for it. They elevate for it. There is nothing that is huge and that's beneficial and that matters that you can just stumble into or you can just obtain by chance. There are blessings that come, absolutely. There are unexpected things that come, absolutely. But there are certain things, because of the magnitude and because of their importance, that you cannot just stumble into. You have to actually elevate for it. So yes, that is why for me and with the ladies that I work with, that is why New Heart Academy does exist. Because it's not just a course. No, it is a 12-course transformation program that is designed for women who are serious about doing the work. For the women who are serious about doing whatever needs to be done in order to finally attract the man that they are praying for. It is for the women who know that covenant and true alignment requires intentional preparation. I even made a little handy dandy list. I'm going to tell you all the things that you actually get inside of New Heart Academy. And I have like full actual notes for this one because I want to make sure that you understand what you get when you come inside. You get identity work, you get deep healing, self-worth restoration, emotional regulation, boundary mastery, discernment training, modern dating strategy, scripture-based transformation, pattern breaking, accountability, community connection, other ladies who are going to also be doing the work. And we actually now do bi-weekly coaching sessions where we get together as a group and you get to glean off others and encourage others, all coming together, along with a monthly live Q&A coaching session, all of us together having fun. You get mindset rewiring, you get suitability training, you learn about intimacy, you get the skills to date with clarity, confidence, and wisdom. You don't heal alone. You don't grow alone. You don't prepare for covenant alone. Inside New Heart Academy, you are surrounded by other women who are healing, who are growing, elevating, and preparing just like you. Listen, if you are a woman who can say that God has promised you a suitable and complementary partner, then your responsibility is to become a suitable and complementary woman. It's really just that simple. Attachment will end up derailing you, and you don't have time for that anymore. It's happened too much in your past. It's time to move on. Alignment is going to prepare you, and I am here to see that happen. I'm here to help you through it, whether it's in New Heart Academy or not, right? Of course I'm going to talk about that because that's my baby. You're getting a free training video, so of course I'm going to make sure that I do talk about it. But whether you come into it or not, I'm here for you because I want to see you win. But my academy is the place where that transformation happens on every level. This is the season for you to get serious. It's the season for you to stop repeating cycles and to step into alignment. And if you're ready for the community, if you're ready for the 12 courses, the accountability, the discernment training, the transformation that prepares you for something happy, healthy, and holy, yeah, then you need to join New Heart Academy.